What does that sound, you ask?
From the number one station, you come.
Welcome to the Wreck Show podcast, a show dedicated to beatmakers around the world. Kick back, relax with the host Gldnmnd.
Hello, is Ronnie there? Is this 828-3044? Oh, wow. Wait a minute. There must be some kind of mistake.
How can it be? You're the number down, it's here in front of me. I don't understand. You must have told me I'm not.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Wrex Show podcast. I go by the name of David Gldnmnd Hicks. Yeah, we outside today, man. And I had to start it off with this Loving It remix by Elijah Beats, man. He killing the game, yo. I love your remixes. I love the beats, man, the rhymes, all that stuff, man. Yo, so that's how we starting it off today, man. Happy New Year to everybody. This is the first official episode of 2023. You know what I mean? Interview-wise, go check out the previous episodes from 2 seasons ago, man. They still got mad jewels by some amazing, talented individuals. No, not even individuals, man. Humans. You know what I mean? No, not even humans. Mutants. That's what we doing, man. So, yo, man, I'm happy to be back. And, we gonna kick this thing off, man. I had the opportunity to meet, chop it up with a amazing individual, amazing creative, man. Been in the game for a while now, doing his thing, killing it with the beats, with the instrumentals, with collaborations. Has done some amazing performances with the Donut Lounge. Y'all go check that out, man. I'm gonna link that in the bottom of the description. But also, he's a beatmaker, music producer. He's a audio engineer. You know what I mean? He's an entrepreneur. Like, he do it all, man. He got his own website, RexMason.com. So, yo, man, that's where we going today, man. We going to Connecticut by way of, we're going to Brooklyn by way of Connecticut. All right, so Connecticut, stand up. And, help me welcome the first guest, the one and only Wrex Mason to the show. Y'all give it up for Wrex Mason. And yeah, man, we gonna, once we take a break, listen to this joint right here, we're gonna come back and start off the interview, man. So y'all enjoy, man. Make sure y'all counting your blessings and not y'all's problems. You know what I mean? It's a good day, man. Sun's out. Yeah. We back, yo. Peace and love, yo.
Everything we do is
Chilling, man. I didn't know I was setting off the year with my episode, so I feel honored, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. Yeah, you're the first one. Like the other two that I put on were just recaps of 2022, like some of the best beat tapes and instrumental albums that I heard. And I did one with had like I don't know how many Beatmakers, but then I came back with a bonus just because I heard so much fire music, man. I want to do a part 3, but I don't know, man. That one might have to wait. So, but yeah, you the first one. Yo, I'm honored to have you on the show. Thank you for your time, man. For those that don't know who you are, can you go ahead, and first of all, they should smack themselves because if they don't know who you are, like they need to go back in the Discogs and actually listen to these beats, to this music. To your videos, like all of that stuff, man. So go ahead, introduce yourself, who you are, what your name means, how your name was created, and then any affiliations that you might be a part of as well.
All right, cool. Well, my name is Wrex Mason. I'm from Connecticut, from the 860. That's like the Hartford area. And yeah, I'm a producer, audio engineer, sometimey DJ, former rapper, you know what I mean? So I've kind of had my hands in everything. As far as my name goes, that came from a DC character called Metamorpho. And I got that name from, I was in college and I was just like fucking around in a can I curse on this thing?
Yeah, you can cuss. Yeah, you can cuss. Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. So I was just like I was fucking around in this comic store, and I just picked up a comic that had this dude Metamorpho, and like his whole thing is that he uses like different elements to defeat his enemies, the elements from like the periodic table. And I thought that was cool. And like the explanation I used to have for it was that like there's like many elements to my style and what I do as far as beats and everything, but honestly it just came down to it, like it just looked good when I wrote it down on paper. It looked good when I typed it. So Wrex Mason. And like with his thing, it didn't have the W at the beginning. I added the W. I guess that's like my nod to like, the old school, like Rex and effects and all that, you know what I mean? So
okay. All right. Yo. See, this is why you just never know where these stories come from. So you really like the ODB of beats right now. Like, ODB, I've been watching Wu-Tang, the series on Hulu lately. So he was like, yo, his name was like, he's like, there's like, he's the father to his style. Like he got many styles. You can't box him in type of joint. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh yeah, there's no father to my style. Yeah.
Yeah, no father to my style. Yeah. Yo, man. Yo, see, this is why I ask these questions, man. Yo, so, okay, that's dope. You know what I mean? I got to ask you about your journey in music, engineering, sometimey DJing, MCing. Like, which one of those did you start with? Because, we, like, the 4 pillars of hip hop is MCing, breaking, graphing. What's the other one? I'm missing one.
DJing,
MCing, graphing, breaking, right? So,
breaking. Yeah.
Which one of those did you start your journey off with?
I started off rapping. So I wrote my first rap when I was like maybe I would say like 9 or 10. And I was actually inspired by this. And this is a deep cut, but Michael Bivins used to have this group. Well, he had Biv 10 Records, and one of the
BBD?
acts. Yeah. So Michael Bivins from BBD, from New Edition and all that. So yeah. So he started his own record label, and that's how you got like, you know, dudes like Boyz II Men. That's how you got Another Bad Creation, and all of that. But in like the late '90s, they had this group called Mag 7, which was like a group of like young rappers. I'm talking like they were anywhere from 8 to 14 years old. And I saw this video that they had called the Street Mix on BET one day, and that's when I decided to like write my first rap, because I was like, yo, all these, you know, all these grown-ups are rhyming, and this is like the only time I can remember, you know, seeing like kids on TV doing this shit. So I got inspired from there, and that's when I started writing.
Wow. Yo, man. That's crazy. And you just been doing it ever since. You know, just evolving. So you were doing MCing, and then when did you get into music production?
I got into music production when I was like maybe 11. I actually just documented it. I did an interview with my cousin, one of my older cousins, who taught me how to make beats and everything. So because it happened like 20 years ago, just this past Christmas. So
yeah, with the DJ, with the what was it called, the
Music Generator.
Yeah, I seen that interview. That was a dope interview, man.
Thank you. So yeah, for those that haven't seen it yet, please check it out. But then also, just to give you a little synopsis, basically 20 years ago when I was 11, you can do the math on that, I won't tell you my age. Do the math amongst yourselves. But when I was 11, my cousin came to visit for the holidays. I told him I was into rapping and everything, and like he put me on to like a lot of stuff that wasn't on the radio, because the radio was the only thing I had back then to consume rap for real. What happened? Oh yeah, so he's putting me onto all of this stuff, and then he shows me a beat CD of tracks that he made. And I was like, yo, like, how are we doing this? I want to learn. I want to know how to do this. And he showed me music data from there. And what he would do is just like make a beat on a game, and then basically like record the beats into like one of his homies' computers, and then just burn a CD. And so he just showed me one time how to make a beat, and then was like, all right, you go ahead and you try, and I'm not gonna say anything, I'm not gonna help you, you just figure it out. And that's when I started, you know, making beats and like taking beats more seriously.
Or really trial by error. Like he showed you, and then boom, now you figure it out, and then you just took it and ran with it. Man, that yo, man, like the cousins, like the influences that, you know, shape us as young kids into adulthood, man. Like that's why I asked that question, because I know it's somebody in your life, in your family, that was like, yo, this is what I'm into. Yo, I'm gonna show you what I'm into, and then they just expose you and just open your world to something different, man. Like that's, yo, for people that haven't checked out the Solar Flare Show episode 9001, go ahead, check it out on his YouTube. I'm gonna link that at the bottom of the show as well, man. So y'all go ahead, tap into that, man. Listen to the interview, man. It's a dope interview as well, man. So are you trained on any classical instruments right now?
Yeah, I started off, I did piano lessons when I was like 5. I didn't really keep up with piano, but after I moved to Connecticut, because I had bounced around a lot when I was younger, but when I moved to Connecticut, I was classically trained on cello. And then from there, I started doing percussion in the band and everything. So, it's cello and percussion for me.
Nice. Yo, what would be your message to beat makers, music producers, composers, since you are trained on a couple instruments? What would you recommend that they do in order to expand their, for lack of a better, like their musicality skills? Like, would you recommend they learn an instrument?
I would recommend it. I would recommend the piano just because it's so ubiquitous. You can do so many things with it, and it's just it's like the basis for so much music out there. I would say piano or guitar. But I would say, there are a lot of amazing tutorials out there, whether it be on YouTube, on TikTok, or what have you, that just like really kind of simplify things for someone who's not really trained on music like that. So I would say, really, really take advantage of that.
Yeah, man. Yo, I definitely hear the skills when I'm listening to like what was the first album that I listened to, man? Because I go back in my guest discographies, man. I go to the SoundClouds, I go to the Bandcamps, I go all over just to get a better sense. And I started with Aquarius Sun. I don't want to skip, but I'm just saying, like, when I listen to Aquarius Sun, yo, man, like you can hear like the synths, the chords, like all of that, like just comes into play. That's an amazing album, man. Like really dope album. I would suggest people listen to that album, Aquarius Sun, But okay, let me okay, so you got your cousin that's inspiring you, kind of mentoring you into the music. What were the genres that you were listening to as you were growing up?
Let's see. So I would say for the most part growing up, it was like R&B, a little bit of jazz, a good amount of gospel, and whatever hip hop was on the radio. So because like my mom specifically, she wasn't the biggest hip hop fan, and still really isn't the best hip hop fan. Like, to put it into perspective, like her favorite hip hop song ever, I believe, is it's "I Need Love" by LL Cool J and "Big Mouth" by Houdini.
Oh, nice.
So I would say like those two are like her faves, and like, and it wasn't like she was on that like kind of like that high horse, like hip hop isn't the same kind of thing. It's like she's very picky as it relates to hip hop, I would say. But and that's why like I only could catch it on the radio, like if we were in the car or something. But in the house, it was a lot of R&B, a lot of gospel. Like my mom's had or both my parents had the Kirk Franklin albums. So like the God's Property one, the Kirk Franklin and the Family one, a lot of Mary J. Blige, just stuff like that. So I would say like, mainly R&B and gospel, then a little bit of jazz, then a little bit of hip hop.
Nice. Yo, man. Like everybody, I just remember driving around with my big sister Donna, man. She had the Kirk Franklin, make me wanna stomp. Yo, I was in the back seat. Like, yeah, man. She had the cassettes and the CDs, man. She was straight gospel too, man. And I see a lot of, like, you name some of your tracks, gospel. What are they called? Gospel takes. I think that's when I listen to COVID 9000, the Ascended outtakes, I think some of them are called gospel. I can't remember the names, man, right now, but
like space gospel.
There you go, space gospel. Yeah, like for everybody that don't know, like, what do you mean by space gospel? Yeah.
Well, first of all, that term came from the homie Nelson Bandela. So shouts to Nelson Bandela, who is a good friend of mine, amazing producer, a mentor of mine. When I first moved to New York, he got me some of my first shows. So that mainly came from him, because that's how he described his music at the time. And like his I don't know if you've ever heard his music, but it's just so out there, and just so, it's like, you know, it's very Sun Ra-esque to me, you know what I mean? And he for a lot of his earlier work, when he was still going by Norbis Jr., he would label it as space gospel. And around the time, around 2015, 2016, when I was like just trying to like revamp my style, and also when I was making Aquarius Sun, I was like, you know, I feel like my music kind of falls into this category, and I asked straight up if I could, like, you know, put that label on my music, and that's just where it stemmed from. I've just kept it ever since.
Nice. Yo, I've never heard of his music, but after this, of course, I will go back and listen, man, because I like knowing like who influenced my guests, and you know, what were they hearing when they were you know, being mentored and stuff like that, and then just included in, you know, my toolkit, you know what I'm saying? So I'll definitely will, I'm gonna link this individual's info as well for other people to check out, because that could be one of your recommendations as well when I get to that question. But but yeah, man, I'm I had to ask that question, the space gospel, John, because I kept seeing, I'm like, oh, okay, like that's interesting. He keeps naming his some of the tracks that, but yeah, we're gonna talk about the, you know, the Raw Randos, the 4 volumes you got out. We're gonna talk about the Taurus Moon album. Like, yo, we going all the way in the discography, bro. So just be prepared, man. But all right, yeah, man, I gotta know, like, what's, like, if you're able to, and like, this might be like a, you know, a semi like hard question or something like that, but if you can, what's the, like, can you name that one beat or that one song that like is like considered your greatest beat or greatest song of all time? A song that just, when you heard it, you were like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is going on? Who made this?
That was can I say album?
Yeah, you can say album. You can say a couple albums or songs. Yeah.
All right, I would say like the album for me that made me like really pay attention to production and just wonder how people are doing it is the 18th Letter by Rakim. Yeah, that one. That's the one with It's Been a Long Time, The Saga Begins, New York, You Out There, you know, all of that. That's like one of my favorite albums of all time. And I actually got the chance to meet Rakim at a show. He did a show in SOBs a few months back, and like I got to go backstage and like tell him how much that album meant to me. So that was a really dope time, and like something I'll never forget. But I would say like It's Been a Long Time and The Saga Begins are like the two ones where I was like, yo, what is this? Like, this is crazy. And for those that don't know, It's Been a Long Time, produced by the legendary DJ Premier. The Saga Begins, produced by the legendary Pete Rock, and they're just amazing tracks. So I would say like that was my foundation.
Man, Listen, yo, you got to meet the God Rakim, yo. Oh my God.
The God.
Man. Yo, man, that's a bucket list joint for me, man. So you already knocked it out, man. Like, yo, I listened to that because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's a double CD project, if I'm not mistaken, man. Or is it?
Well, it was initially released as a single disc, but then about 5 years later, it was released as a double disc, and like the second disc had like Rakim's like greatest hits on it. So yeah,
that's the one I bought from CM Goody. I remember that, yo. I remember CM Goody, yo. Yeah, man, that's dope, man. DJ Premier, you got Pete Rock. That's like killing the game as we're growing up, man. Like, they have so many offspring around the world that they influenced, you know what I mean, to make music and make beats. Like, if they ever listen to this show one day, man, they just know, man, like, y'all influenced generations, multiple generations of, you know, humans, creatives, like, and it don't stop. Like, it's still going. That music that they made back then is still influencing and making a big impact even today to people that may have never heard it and just coming in contact with it because of, you know, streaming is more accessible now, to where you didn't have to get the CD and the cassettes and vinyls, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, for all my listeners, man, for all my beat makers, man, just keep making the music, man, because somebody's going to tap into your music that's going to be a first time listener, and it's just going to blow their mind, man. So just keep doing your thing, man. That's what I would recommend. What do you think about that, Rex?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to just, like, as Alchemist says, just, you know, stay low, keep firing. You never know where the music is going to end up. You know, one day it might just have like one listen, maybe 100 streams. Next thing you know, and the next time you look up, you know, you might have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of streams. I mean, like, if you go, on Spotify and check out, you know, Wrex Mason music, like, I typically don't really promote on Spotify just because, like, you know, I'm just trying to direct more people to buying directly from me as opposed to streaming. But even still, like, you know, it's like I've been able to, you know, build up like somewhat of a following, and, like, you know, I'm playlisted in places I never thought I'd be. I had a kid from Sri Lanka, I forget his name, but like he found my music through Spotify, and like he was rapping over stuff from Aquarius Sun and like tagging me in it. And I just wake up one day, headed to my 9 to 5, and this kid is rapping over he's rapping over Water Bear from the album, and I'm like, what does this Sri Lankan kid know about me? like this is the most random thing ever. But yeah, you never know where your music will take you, who it'll introduce you to. You know, and this music thing is forever. So even if people aren't tapping in right now, people will tap in eventually. Right. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily you, or that, you know, people just deliberately don't want to listen to your stuff. Sometimes you're just ahead of the curve, you know what I mean? And people aren't ready to listen to it until they're ready to listen to it. And one of my favorite examples of that is, you ever heard of a punk band called Death?
I have not, no.
Okay, so they had a documentary on Netflix a few years ago. It was this band of brothers, black dudes from Detroit, I believe, and they were like the first to really like do the sound that we know now as like classic punk rock. And no one had heard of them until years later. I'm talking like late 2000s, and they like recorded their first and only album, to the best of my knowledge, in like the early 70s. I'm talking like 73 or something like that. And no one really found out about them, and they didn't really get their flowers until 30 some years later. You know what I mean? And sometimes it happens that way. But something that one of the brothers said that really resonated with me when I watched the documentary, and shortly before he passed, he told one of his other brothers that, like, you know, people are going to come looking for what we're putting out in the future. And he put that on everything. So, you know, you just never know. And don't beat yourself up too much in the moment. You know what I mean? Because you never know. People could circle back. Whoever's meant to hear your music will hear it. I'm sorry if that was long-winded, but that's how I feel.
You good? Yo, man, that's a dope story. I remember a quote from Knife Wonder. He said that too, man. He said, the people will find you. Just keep creating, man. Like people will tap into your music, man, when they supposed to tap into your music. Just keep creating, keep getting out there, man. I think it was on one of his documentaries that he had too. But yeah, man, like, don't expect flowers like right now. Just keep creating, you know what I'm saying? And it'll come. Just keep creating from a pure place, you know what I'm saying? Because when you start seeking out, you know, like the fans and stuff like that, it's kind of like that old saying that says when you chase the rabbit, like you never catch the rabbit, yo. Like you never gonna catch the rabbit, but if you sit still, you know, the rabbit may come to you. So just chill. Like don't chase after the placements and the Spotify placements and all that type of stuff, like sales. Just keep creating. It's gonna come, man. That's a dope story, man. Thank you for sharing that story, man.
Oh yeah, no problem.
I gotta ask you this as well, man. Like how did you know it was time for you to, you know, release your music? Like let the internets hear your beats, hear your projects, your music.
Like when I was in like middle school, high school, like I would rap or record it, you know, burn it to a CD and just like pass it around to people I knew who would listen at school. And then one day, one of my friends told me about SoundClick, which was like an old, it's like the predecessor to SoundCloud, to Reverb Nation, all of that. So like a lot of people used to post beats on there. Like Gldnmnd used to post beats on there, Booney Mayfield, Damu the Fudge Monk, like all of those guys. And if you were really tapped into like, you know, Beatmakers and like the early YouTube days, you know who those guys are. So like that's like one of those if you know, you know kind of things. But yeah, and then I started putting stuff on SoundClick, and then like I'd stopped rapping in college just because like I wanted to focus on beats and everything, and then SoundCloud came about, and I was like, you know what, I'm making a lot of what I think is pretty solid stuff, and there's like this new market for it. There's this, you know, this site that's like gaining a lot of traction, so I put my music up on there, and it was just like I didn't look at it as like a, you know, like a, I don't know, like I don't even know how to describe it. I just looked at it as like the next logical step in like music making, because like what good is the music if it's just sitting on your hard drive, right, you know?
Right. I tell my guests all the time, man. Like, and I be tweeting it too, man. I be like, yo, stop hoarding beats, man. Like, stop hoarding your beats, man. Just put them in an EP, put them on a project. Like, just get them off the hard drive, because, yo, like, nobody's gonna know like you made then that amazing track that can inspire somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like just sitting on your hard drive, you gotta let it go, man. Like once you let it go, it's out of your control what it does. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and you never know what people are receptive to too, because like, I have a lot of music that I don't think is that good, or I think could use like a little bit more love. But at some point, and it was definitely during the pandemic when I started the Raw Randos series, where I was just like, you know what? You know, I've gone through multiple situations where like I've shown people the beats I thought they liked, and then they end up liking some shit that I'm just like iffy about. And like, and that's when I started the Raw Rando series, because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just put out what I feel like putting out, whether I think it's good, whether I think it's bad. You know, this is like who I am, and like the people are just gonna have to accept that kind of thing. And that's like another key that I want to lay on like anyone listening right now is like, love yourself through the good ideas and through the bad ideas, and like, or what you think is a bad idea, you know, because sometimes it's actually a good idea and you're just overthinking it. You know what I mean? And like a prime example for me is on Raw Randos Volume 1 or 9001 is Syntax Error. I didn't really like that beat, and I had to learn to love my own beat. Imagine that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, and that's like, you know, that's one that a lot of people have gone back to and have told me like, yo, this is fucking fire. You know? So
I was gonna be one of them.
You know,
I was gonna be one of them.
Oh,
like,
thank
that
you.
beat is fire. For real, yo. Like that whole album is dope, man. But yeah, I definitely understand what you mean when you know what I mean? Like everybody, like I say that I have the same issue, man. Like I feel like some of my music is not, it may not be good enough to release it, but after a while I just started going back in the hard drive and go, because I break them down by months. So I'd be like, hey, let me go through my January 2022 beats, clean up, see which ones are good, and then finalize them, get them mixed and mastered, and then just put them out on a, you know, just a random project. Of course, like something's gotta, like, it ain't gotta be like a you know, one of those albums that have like a plot around it either. Like you did Raw Randos, man. That's a dope concept. You know what I'm saying? Like to just clean up some music, boom, put it out on Raw Randos and see what the people like. And it's shocking you even to this day, right?
Yeah, still to this day. Yeah, and like the whole thing that came about, or the whole reason that came about is, like I said, during the pandemic, I had nothing else to do but just like stay at home. I was fortunately working from home. And I was just like creating while I was just waiting for stuff to do from my job at the time. You know what I mean? So I was just making so much at such a high volume. It's like, you know what? I like all of these ideas, but a lot of them don't really, I guess, go together as far as like putting together a cohesive project in the vein of, say, a Aquarius, Sun, Taurus, Moon, or Ascendant. So I'm gonna just like put these out as like randos, and that's when I came up with the Raw Randos thing, because like all the tracks are just straight out of Ableton, really no mixing or mastering other than the level matching that I do in Ableton naturally, just like making the beat. Yeah, I just decided to put stuff out, and that's some of my most successful shit to date, you know?
Yo, man, dope. That's a dope concept, man. For everybody listening, man, I would suggest y'all go listen to Raw Randos Volume 9001, 2, 3, and 4, and then go back and listen to Aquarius Sun, man, Taurus Moon, Ascendant. Like, Yo, man, your discography is good, but I'm gonna ask you about a couple albums in a little bit. I just wanted to get your take on some suggestions, right? So I got a lot of mutants out there, man, music mutants that are like on this music journey, and they trying to figure things out. They trying to figure out their sound, how they want to present their music to the world and stuff like that. But what would be some recommendations that you have as, required, watching, required listening, or, anything, like any type of content? It could be a movie, documentary, a book, YouTube tutorial, a podcast, anything.
I would say whoever your favorite musicians, producers, whatever, whoever they are, look up an interview, look and study those interviews, and if they have any in the studio footage, watch it, and then see who they've collaborated with, and then watch their stuff. You know what I mean? And when you've done all that, I would say, what's a good thing to watch for people, or a good podcast? Questloves podcast is the best, in my opinion. I'd also recommend this one, honestly, because you interview so many like fire people that I admire. You know what I mean? And I'm friends with like Nothing New and Radicule. Like those are the homies, man. And I love their shit. I love their shit. I would just say, like, whoever inspires you, just watch as much as you can and study up on them. And any books that they have, read those, cop them and read them. Because above all else, and I tell this to every single person I meet, above all else, I'm a student of music. You know what I mean? And I'm not afraid to say such. And I'm not afraid to, continue to be a student. It's like the old phrase says, what is it? Like the wise man knows he knows nothing at all, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it.
So, and I live by that. I swear by that, because the wise person truly knows that they still have a lot to learn. And there's so many people, so many stories on this one little planet that's one little speck of dust in all of creation, and I'm getting existential with it. Excuse me.
Go ahead, go ahead, talk your shit. Yeah.
you know what I mean? But there's just so much to learn on this planet alone, across hundreds of years. You can't. There's no possible way to say that you're omniscient or all knowing and just that you're an expert, a true expert on any one thing, Right. So I would just say, study, especially those that you admire and respect.
What do you think it is about when, people are trying to figure things out, and then once they, get some momentum and they kind of shut off the student part of it and think they mastered it? You know what I'm saying? Where do you think that comes from, and how do you think they can circumvent that as far as going back to being a student of the game, student of music, student of everything that has to do with music and business and stuff like that?
That, to me, it sounds like it's ego. You know what I mean? Just to get to a certain place and then be like, all right, well, I've done the heavy lifting up till this point, so I can just chill and enjoy whatever it is. And that's true to a certain point, because you do deserve breaks. But I would say, I would say just, check your ego at the door, man. You don't know everything, and that's okay. You can't. And there's just always so much more to learn, and so many ways to, really expand on what you learn and showcase what you learn. You know what I mean? Like I think of cats like Tyler the Creator. You know what I mean? Who started off with, joints like Bastard and Goblin and Wolf, and then he comes back, and then Cherry Bomb, and then, so on and so forth. Then we get to, Flower Boy, Igor, Call Me When You Get Lost. And you can see the progression. And to me, it's like exponential. Like this kid has has just like gone from like the raw, like dark shit, the shock value shit, to all of to these like beautiful chords and, just talking about fly shit, you know what I mean? And talking about love and all of that. So, and also like imagine if Tyler stayed at Goblin, right? Yeah. Imagine if Alchemist just stayed making, and shouts to Alchemist and everything, but like imagine if he just like kept making joints like We Gon' Make It. You know what I mean? Imagine if, because when the moment that you feel like you have nothing left to learn, that you have nothing left to do, that's when, you get really stuck in a rut. You know what I mean? And that's when you kind of become stagnant, you know what I mean, in your career and where you want to go. Always, have like check your ego at the door and never be too proud or get too big to where you feel like, you can't expound on your creativity, because our creativity, it has no bounds. You know what I mean? Right. Like there's no limit to what we can achieve. And, as such, just keep building. Because like if I truly thought that I had no more to contribute, no more to create, no more to learn, I would still be making stuff like Aquarius Sun. And, and maybe I wouldn't have gotten to the point where I'm sitting on this podcast. You know what I mean? Right. So,
I got you.
So
I got you. Yo, Wrex Mason, motivational speaker, man. Add that to the list, bro. Add that to the list.
I try, man. I try.
Yeah, man. I'm super inspired right now, man. Speaking of learning, that's a good way to segue into like, there's so much music equipment out, man, digitally, like on, iOS and Android, and then you got the hardware stuff, and DAWs and stuff like that. Like which DAWs and pieces of equipment do you use to create your music?
All right. Well, we're kind of getting into the DAW wars here because I started out on Music Generator, then I went to FL Studio, and in 2015 I made the switch to Ableton. And I know a lot of FL Studio users, a lot of Fruity Loops users are going to be mad at that, but that's just the real, you know what I mean? So currently I use Ableton. I got the Ableton Push 2. I just copped the new SP, the Mark II, and so I'm learning on that. But I mainly use Ableton and the Ableton Push.
Nice, man. Like what was it about Ableton that differed from FL? Like what was it that was like, yo, maybe I need to try Ableton and give this a try, and then you stuck with Ableton, right? So what was it about Ableton?
For me, I switched over to Ableton because at the time FL Studio was still figuring stuff out for like getting getting FL Studio like to run native on a Mac. And I've been using Macs pretty much since college because I went to Full Sail. And yeah, so like they were like continually having issues, and if you wanted to use FL Studio, you had to like partition your hard drive on your Mac and everything, and it was just like it was a hassle. And even when you did that, you couldn't use third-party plugins. So I couldn't use, Massive or Contact or Omnisphere or whatever people use, you know what I mean? So I switched over to Ableton to be able to do all of that. Because I work with a lot of plugins and stuff, a lot of like virtual instruments. So and then once I got into the groove of everything, like I found that like Ableton really, I don't know, it just like it just made me more, I guess, creative. And they have like their like onboard effects, like their stock effects, I would say, are some of the best in the game. Their sampler is one of the best in the game. The warp feature is goated. You know what I mean? I just like fell in love with the functionality of it all. I felt like the automation on it was a little bit easier. Like everything just came more easy once I learned Ableton. And for those who are trying to learn Ableton, I would suggest using arrangement mode instead of clip mode, because clip mode's confusing as hell. I'm still trying to figure it out, but arrangement mode is where it's at.
That's why I didn't use it, man, because that clip mode, I was like, what the heck is this? Like I just couldn't wrap my head around it, man. It was like trigonometry,
Yeah, and that goes back to the whole studying thing, because what I did, because I would just look at Ableton. Like I would open it up, I would just look at the clip mode, and then I watched an episode of Rhythm Roulette. No, it wasn't Rhythm Roulette. It was Against the Clock with Fact Magazine.
Fact Magazine, yeah, man.
And I watched this kid cook up this beat in arrangement mode. I'm blanking on his name, but I'll let you know. He like cooked up this beat just like clicking on his keypad in arrangement mode, and it was pretty sick. And I was like, oh, so that's how you could use it. That's how you could freak it. And honestly, like arrangement mode was like the best segue I could think of from FL, because it's like on a horizontal grid, and it's just like the playlist in FL Studio.
What's one VST that you would definitely be like, yo, this is like a must-have for your music production, for my beat makers, for my mutants that's listening right now?
If you can afford it, Rolling Cloud. Rolling Cloud is the shit. It's got all the classic joints. It's got like the Juno 106 on there, the XV5080 sound module. It's got like all the classic joints on there, and I swear to God, you cop that, you won't need any other DAW. You know what I mean? Wow. It's just that robust. So I would say Rolling Cloud.
Wow. I'm gonna have to go check this out, because I got the Push 2 as well. So I'm trying to, not the Push 2, but the SP44 Mark II. So I'm still trying to wrap around my head around that and stuff like that. I think I kind of figured out like, how to perform with it now, and how to, use the effects and stuff like that. I just haven't made a beat with it yet, but yeah, I'm gonna look at Rolling Cloud. Yo, I'm gonna look that up too, man. Thank you for that, Rick. That's another recommendation, man. Look at that. Let me see. Okay. I got it. So you have like, how many? You got countless albums, man. But you have, what's that? 8 8 albums on your Bandcamp, man. And for everybody that knows the Wrex Show podcast, man, I always push people to Bandcamp or your websites, because streaming's cool, you know what I mean, if you just, want to take it around, stuff like that. But true support, man, if anybody's trying to support you, they should be going to your Bandcamp / your website. And you already have a website, rexmason.com. Y'all go ahead and check it out, man. But I gotta ask you about this Taurus moon, man, because I'm a Taurus. Are you a Taurus?
No. So I'm an Aquarius, and that's where the Aquarius sun came from. So Aquarius sun, Taurus moon, and ascendant, they all like fall in line with like my birth chart. So I'm an Aquarius sun, Taurus moon, and Cancer rising or ascendant, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, so I'm looking at, because I was like, yo, there's gotta be some type of correlation between those 3 albums, man. Ascendant, Taurus moon, and Aquarius sun. So I was just trying to figure it out. Like, how did you, so now that we know a little bit, but how did you wind up creating those and putting those together? You know what I mean? So they work kind of like album, like listen to this album, then listen to this one, then listen to Ascendant. You know what I mean?
So I thought of the concept after my first year in New York. So I moved to New York in 2015, and I had a pretty rough go at it. It was just a tough year all around. I lost one of my friends. The internship that I moved to New York for, it kind of fell through and everything. They didn't hire me as as an assistant engineer like they said they would, you know what I mean? So it was just like a tough year for me. And I was also just trying to figure out like who I was and like my place in the world, you know what I mean? And I had a good friend of mine read me, or like she encouraged me to like look up my birth chart, because she told me that it would like help me to understand like who I am and why I operate the way I operate. And so I did the whole, sign calculator thing, my date of birth, the time of birth, the location, everything. And I'm reading this thing, and it made myself make more sense to myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I wanted to kind of like capture that in a way. And like I just started thinking of like, astrology, constellations, space, you know what I mean? So I just like started really doing like spacey sounds and everything. And it helps that like I'm a diehard like Flying Lotus fan, so a lot of that was inspired by him, by like the whole LA beat scene, not just him, but like Toki Monster, doggone Georgia Ann Muldrow, Mono Poly, Sam I Am, After One, Raz G, R.I.P. Raz G, all of those guys. So it was just like kind of my tribute to that, but then also, just kind of like just like creating and learning more about myself as I went. So
nice, man. Yo, Flylo's up there too, yo. So yeah, he's like, you got so many, like all of these guys. Sam I Am, Raj G. I'm still bumping their music to this day, man. Like, like I know Sam I Am, he kind of like went somewhere else, but I'm like, yo, where'd he go, man? Because his music was that freaking good, man, and it's still bumped. Man. So, but okay, that's a dope way to do that, man. Because I thought about doing that birth chart as well, man. So it's a crazy thing that you're saying this right now, because I've been thinking about that for like 3 or 4 weeks, man. So this might be my little push to do that, yo.
Yeah, do it. You'll be surprised. And then like I guess the daily like readings or like, you know, horoscopes that you get, just like, you know, just general like advice for your sign kind of thing. Like sometimes it's not completely accurate, you know what I mean? It's not completely what you want to hear, but sometimes, you know, sometimes what they be saying, it's like, it's a bar, you know what I mean?
Right. I got you. So another thing, we already talked about the Raw Randos and how that concept came about. But then you got, you know, Taurus Moon, Aquarius Sun, Ascendant, COVID 9000, the Ascendant outtakes, man. Was that just like an EP of the beats that you couldn't fit on Ascendant?
Yeah, so like I had made a good amount of stuff that I thought was going to be on the album, but it just like it didn't work out that way just because of cohesiveness. And I thought like those tracks were just like too good to just like sit there and collect dust. So I just decided to put out a little EP, and it just happened to be like, I'm just now thinking of this, that's like kind of the low-key predecessor to the Raw Rando series. Because like, you know, it's just feeding off of that idea of like, you know, I'm creating at such a high volume and I want to put this stuff out, but it's not cohesive enough for a project. And, you know, I just like decided to put out like some loose tracks.
Got you, man. Yo, that's a dope. Like all of your, like I'm listening to it today as well, man. But I was listening to it and I'm like, yo, man, like you can see the progression from your first album all the way until the Raw Randos 9004. And I was like, yo, man, this guy is like, the crazy thing is I'm mad at myself for not knowing who you are and that your music was out. But the great thing is I get to like go into your discography, support the albums, you know what I mean? Just let you know right now, like, yo, you got some fire music, man. Like, I appreciate you for sharing your music, man, with the world. And, you know what I mean? You got a new fan out of me, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Like, and I got to talk about this one album, man, that I think I bought it on Bandcamp Friday maybe a year ago or something like that. But I listened to it, but it kind of went over my head just because I'll be listening to so many beats and stuff like that. But this one album that you were a part of called Power Black. And you got a couple tracks on there. Can you tell me how that came about, like what that album was all about? Yeah.
Damn, I'm forgetting who reached out to me for that album, but it was basically like around Juneteenth, and they wanted to do something special for Juneteenth. And if I'm not mistaken, it was either on the heels or right before George Floyd was murdered. And I think, you know, they wanted to put together something, and maybe I'm getting it twisted. So if you're listening, don't run up on me in public, you know what I mean? But because 2020 was a bit of a blur for me, you know what I mean? Yeah, somebody reached out and they were like, you know, we want to put together a beat tape, or like a compilation with like a bunch of producers. They wanted it to be for Juneteenth, and I was like, all right, bet. And I had like this one beat, which is actually like if you listen to Wadsworth, it's there's like a little hidden beat towards the end. And I had that beat at first, and that was the one I was initially gonna put on there, but then I ended up making something else that I thought was like a bit more fitting. And then I was just like, well, why don't I just do both? So I kind of like snuck both on there. But
smart.
Yeah, and the reason why it's called Wadsworth, and I don't really get, sorry for the bump. The reason why it's called Wadsworth, and I don't get a chance to really say this to many people because I don't do many interviews. And again, thank you for the interview. So the reason why it's called that is because when I used to live in Connecticut, I would attend these events, these Juneteenth events at the Wadsworth Athenaeum, which is an art museum right in downtown Hartford, and like my parents were pretty big art enthusiasts, and they loved going to those events, and sometimes I would tag along. So that's like kind of it was a nod to Juneteenth, but then also to where I'm from. So
nice. Yo, just for everybody that's listening, man, when I'm talking about Power Black, man, this album came out June 19, 2020, but the amazing beat makers and producers that's on this, man, like U4, Blue November, Kaylin Ellis, Where's Alex, like Tech Loon, Nothing New, Oshi, Wrex Mason, like Othello played a piano joint on there, man. I was like, yo, like I felt the piano joint because it's right after your song too. So yeah, man, like right. Yo, this album, like I tweeted it today. I'm like, yo, y'all need to tap into this, man. Just the amazing production on it alone, man. And it's an emotional listen too, man, because I'm listening to it, and yeah, it is after George Floyd was murdered. And then it's just an emotional, like you gotta listen to it, man. Just it's so good, man. It's so good. Y'all did an amazing job on this album, man.
Thank you. And I'm looking down the track list right now. It's literally a fucking miracle that I got on this shit. I mean, U4, Kaylin Ellis, Where's Alex? I don't remember. Gldnmnd's Ego, Techlin, Nothing New. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, how the fuck did I get that lucky?
You on there, bro. You are on there.
It's crazy.
Man, yo, I mean, yes, 2020 was just put it in a bag and toss it in the trash type of thing. But musically, man, I feel like 2020 was an amazing year for beats. I don't know about other music, but I know for the beat scene, for music, you know what I mean? Everybody was just in their space and just creating from, you know, pain, joy, love, you know, hate, like all those different types of emotions, man. I feel like 2020, 2021, even into 2022, man, as we were coming out of the haze of the pandemic, like it's, some amazing albums that have been put out, man, by these producers, man. So that's one of the reasons why I like to point out, like, you put out so much music and you be like, yo, you forget about it. And I can't let you forget, man. That's an amazing project you were a part of. And then you also, if people go to your website, man, they got to go to your website. You produced for some like amazing people too, man. Like Nappy Nina, who else did you Teddy Bruschi? Like, yo, you like, how did you come about that produce for like so many people? Because you have them on a playlist.
So the way, well, like a good amount of people that are on that playlist, like, were just like the homies, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of those people are from Connecticut. Like, Teddy's from Connecticut. Just Love Hall's from Connecticut. Don McLennan is from Connecticut. So a lot of that is like just through them. But then also the way that like me collaborating with Nappy Nina came about, and shouts to Nappy Nina.
She nice, yo. She
nice. Amazing. And she's got an album coming up. I can't wait to listen to that because I know it's gonna be sick. The way that came about is through my boy Nelson Bandela. He kind of made the connection around the time that I first moved to New York, because she was looking for beats. We were initially gonna collab on some on some rap shit, because I was still rapping at the time, but it just didn't really work out. I didn't really like, you know, what I was recording, so I just at that point just decided to quit and focus on beats and everything. But then like she was working on what became the Tree Act, and she hit me up. I went over to her place. I showed her some beats and everything, and it's funny, Temple Tune actually came about because like that's one of those things I was talking about when it's like, you know, love yourself through the bad ideas, and like what you think is a bad idea somebody else might think is fire. Temple Tune was one of those beats where I was like, I prefaced it by saying, I don't know if you're gonna like this, I'm gonna just like play you some of this shit, and she ended up being like yo, I need that. Same thing with No AC and Stuck Though. She was like, yo, I need those beats. Those are insane. So that's how that came about. With Teddy Bruschi, shouts to him, fucking legend, man. Like he's one of the best rappers out of Connecticut, but also, in my opinion, just the world. Like he was, I met him, or I actually like reached out to him on MySpace. I reached out to him on MySpace back in like 2009, because we both produced, and we both produced for a Connecticut rapper named Clockwise, and like the beat that he had, I was like, I just wanted to connect, like just show admiration on some produced shit. And then he came out in 2010 with a mixtape called All American Indulgence, and I was just like, yo, like where are these rhymes coming from? And so I just decided to like, you know, send him beats from there. And actually I might owe him some more beats, because he just sent me some of his new gear, you know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, we're on the barter system, you know what I mean?
Right. Yo, man, amazing. Yo, I'm definitely gonna check out Teddy Bruschi, man. I've never heard of him, but every time somebody like says something about a local artist that's killing it, I gotta check him out, man. So that's another recommendation, man, that everybody can tap into as well. I gotta ask you about the Donut Lounge, man. Your Donut Lounge performance was amazing, man. Like, I don't know if you ever performed for Donut Lounge before, or was that your first time?
No, it's actually it's actually the third time I've performed for Donut Lounge. The first two, I want to say, were in 2021. And I got that connection just through I want to say it was either Nothing New or my boy E1 who made the connection. And shouts to both those guys, but they were looking for some more performers, and my name came up in the conversation, and I was initially supposed to do like a little remote thing, like over the pandemic. I was gonna link up with, I want to say it was Armani Cooper, to do like one of the remote sessions where it was like just you, the camera, and the internet. But that didn't work out. And then a year later, once like things started opening back up again, they hit me to what was going on at Wonderville, and I just did my thing, and boom, the rest is history.
Yo, man, I always support, because sometimes I'll be getting confused. Is the same people from World MC the same creators from the Donut Lounge? I think yeah.
Okay. I think it's one or two people. I think Armani is involved with both of those things.
Yeah.
Both as a talent curator, a beat curator for the World MC joints, and a videographer.
Yeah. Yo.
And Armani, if you're listening, don't run up on me in the street if I got that wrong.
Yo, man. Yo, shout out to Donut Lounge, man. World MC, man. Like, I always stay tapped into what they doing, man. So shout out to them. But yo, your performance on the Donut Lounge, man, was amazing, man. You did an amazing job on that, yo.
Thank you.
So I gotta ask you this, as we start rounding this out, man. Your top 5, man. So I, as a kid, and a young adolescent, man, can you name your top 5 Beatmaker, music producer, superheroes, and then also now as an adult, your top 5 Beatmaker, music producer, superheroes?
Okay. Oh man. Well, nowadays I can never pick just 5 because I feel like over the years I've done so much studying, and like I said before, like my parents didn't really play a whole lot of hip hop at the house, so I feel like I had to play a little bit of catch up. You know what I mean? And I've just since then picked up so much from so many different producers. But as a teen, I would say my top 5 would have been Dilla, DJ Premier, Pete Rock, Ninth Wonder, and Kanye.
Nice.
And as an adult, it shifted a little bit. I would say,
and there's no genre on this too, man. So you don't it don't have to just be hip hop. Like any genre, like your heroes, your superheroes, man.
Okay. And it's good because it was a bit more diverse as an adult anyway. So I would say, well, Dilla is still number 1. I would also, and then the rest are in no particular order. So I would say,
you gotta preface it with that.
Yeah.
You got to.
So I would say, Flying Lotus, still DJ Premier, Roy Ayers is one of my goats, man. I love Roy Ayers' work. Love his work. Let's see. I'd be remiss if I didn't throw Madlib in there. And then I don't want to discount Pete Rock and Ninth Wonder. I'll put them in the honorable mentions, if that's all right.
Yeah, cool.
But then I would also say, how many is that? 3 or 4?
It don't matter. Keep going, yeah.
All right. I'll just list people. I would also say George Duke.
Nice.
R.I.P. George Duke. Tomita, Isao Tomita, who's a Japanese electronic composer who's made a lot of shit that's been sampled by Dilla, by Flylo, by Madlib, by a whole bunch of people, like really bugged out, spacey type stuff. John Coltrane, Easy Mo B, RZA, let's see, Battle Cat, let's see, and I Alchemist, you know, and I pay attention to a lot of the people in my generation too, and I would put them up there with those guys as well. So I would say, you know, cats like Animas and I put Tyler up there as well. I put you know, Derringer, fucking Pierre Bourne, because he's fire. Like I'm just like, again, I'm a student and I love every single bit of this shit, so I can't really pick a fave. But yeah, it's a lot of people. Let's just leave it there and just say too many people, too many to name. Oh, and After One, shout out After One. He was a huge influence on me.
Yeah, After One. Nice.
Like I started to switch up my sound. Afterthoughts, if you haven't listened to that, if you haven't listened to the Before tape, please listen to that. Those two joints are fucking life changing.
Got you, man. Yo, so you're in NYC, right?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay, Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. So I gotta ask you this, man, about the beat scene in your area. I mean, you can get around to the 5 boroughs, but what's the beat scene like in Brooklyn, you know, in the tri-state area, if you travel that far? What's it like for beat makers, man?
I feel like it's really chill up here. It's, you know, it's all about community, and it's all about, you know, like, you know, coming to shows, showing support, showing your face, and just like, you know, brushing as many shoulders as you can. It's very chill. Like everyone is cool. I don't think I've met a single person in the New York beat scene that I hate or like have beef with or just like, you know, stay away from because, you know, the vibes are off. I've never met anybody like that. You know what I mean? Like it's very cool. Everybody, you know, understands that, like, you know, we're all in this together and we're all like trying to achieve the same thing, and it's better to go at it together than individually. So it's mad love up here. So shout out to everybody here.
Got you, man. Yo, shout out to everybody, man. So last 2.5, man. I gotta ask this, and this is a new one that I'm adding for this year, man.
Okay.
Music. Why music? You could create anything else in the world, anything that your imagination can you know what I mean, gin up. But why music?
Just simply because it's what I love. It's what I've always loved, and it's what I know best. You know what I mean? I've like ever since I was a kid, like even as a baby, according to my parents, I was just like always receptive to music. I was like, that's just how I'm wired. Like the only time they could get me to stop crying is if music was playing, that kind of thing. So it's just what I've always loved, and I don't think, you know, I've ever loved anything else as much as I do music. It's just who I am. It's how I'm wired. That's just me. You know what I mean?
Got you. That's a great answer, man. So speaking of that, what's one thing you wish you knew before you started on your own music and music creation journey?
That is not a linear journey. I wish I knew that, like, you know, making a career in music is not linear. It's not as simple as, okay, I make songs, I put out those songs, people gravitate towards those songs, and then I make it big. You know, that's what I thought when I was a kid. And I've learned that it's not that simple. You're gonna go through like a lot of different hoops, a lot of forks in the road, a lot of detours before you get to where you want to go. And it's, you know, it could be because of a multitude of things. You know, it could just be like your own confidence level, because there have been times when I've been like, you know, maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe I should not do it. And like I've started and stopped a couple of times. I've met people who didn't have my best intentions or my best interests at heart. You know, because there are a lot of snakes out here, man, and they've gotten increasingly better at disguising themselves, I would say. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that. You're gonna you know, and you're gonna also figure out that, you know, there are more than one ways to arrive at this one thing. You know what I mean? And you know, kind of like what we're dealing with now, like the market, or at least the mainstream market, is super oversaturated. You can even say that about the underground market. How many like underground MCs, producers are out there and are killing it? You know what I mean? And it's no knock to them, and it's no knock to like the state of, you know, the music society as we know it. It's just, you know, that's what happens when people have increasingly more access to the internet and are finding more creative ways to put their music out there. Like, if like 10 years, even as far as like 10 years ago, I could have never predicted TikTok or Instagram being what it is now. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody could have. So for me, it's like, you know, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna go through a lot of detours, and I wish I knew that, you know, beforehand. It would have saved me a lot of bouts with imposter syndrome and wondering if I'm good enough or not. So I would say that, but like, I would also say, you know, to anyone listening, you know, just to keep your head up, man, and like to be open and receptive to new ways and new angles to get yourself heard. So.
Got you, man. Yo, good, amazing answer, man. I hope y'all soaking up these jewels that my man Wrex Mason is dropping on y'all, man. He's dropping crazy jewels that y'all can run this back and listen to, man. This is an amazing interview, man. Thank you. Last question.
Thank you.
Last question, bro. What, you know, it's 2023. You know, we just started. It's literally 2 weeks into the new year. But what can the internets look out for from Wrex Mason in 2023?
All right, so you can look out for a lot of stuff on my website, rexmason.com, WREXMASON. I currently have Raw Randos Volume 9005 out on there right now, and that consists of beats, like some of the first beats I made on the music generator, and I released that to commemorate the interview that I did with my cousin who taught me how to make beats. So producers, if you're listening to this, feel free to flip some of those if you can, you know what I mean? Like that one I would say is strictly for the producers, because like, you know, I want to encourage them not only to like, you know, flip the joints on there, but then also, you know, if you have your first little batch of beats that you've ever made, release them. You know, let people who are really tapped in, let them know where where you started at. You know what I mean? You didn't just like come out the womb making hot shit. It's a process.
Right.
So I would say, check out Raw Rando's 9005, 9006 coming soon, probably February or March. And also I'm going to be just, really diving into the content creation space, doing more interviews with people who mean a lot to me for the Solar Flare show. And also, some over 9,000 merch. You know what I mean? So like, cop the merch. I got a lot of stuff, on the way for the spring and summer months. I'm gonna have, I got some slides up there now if you want them. Yeah. I'm gonna have some windbreakers up there if you want them, some tees, some tank tops, some crop tops for the ladies, whatever. You know what I mean?
For men and women, y'all. So don't.
Yeah, men and women. Yeah, everybody can wear a crop top. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah. Everybody can wear a crop top.
Yeah, if y'all want to. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, we do not discriminate over here.
Right. I'm the slides. You know what I mean? Everybody be walking around in these slides. Go ahead and get some over 9,000 slides, man. You got some for men. You got some for women. You got the dad hats. I mean, you got the hoodies with the album covers on it, man. Support, man. RexMason.com. That's what we do, man. 2023, man, it's all about supporting local, man. I know everybody, wants to buy the newest Nike this and Adidas that and Fendi this and blah blah blah. Yo, support your beat makers like you do Apple. Support your beat makers like you support, the electric company. You know what I'm saying? You on time with that bill, you know what I mean? Like, these people are literally spending their time, energy creating this amazing work. You know what I mean? Show your love, man. Show your love. Yeah. Any way that you can. I know, we in a recession and everything like that, but at the same time, you can support, buy an album on Bandcamp. You know what I mean? Buy over 9,000 hat. You know what I'm saying? A Scully costs it ain't even that much. A Scully costs what's that? $25? That's nothing.
It's $25. And if money's really tight, you can always do the pay as you go thing. Like, I got the Affirm and Afterpay set up and everything. So hey, Wrex Mason's got you. Okay. Yeah.
Yo, man. Let the internets know how they can tap into you. Go ahead and plug your socials. We already did the projects and everything like that, but then any final thoughts to the mutants of the metaverse?
So yeah, you can find me anywhere at WREXMASON. So I'm on, that's at Wrex Mason on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. And if you want to find all of those social links in one place, go to the website, go to RexMason.com, and you can also find a link to my Discord. Tap it in, we share ideas in there. Sometimes I drop drum kits and little drum sounds in there. Little previews of what's to come in the year. So definitely tap into that Discord, man. And for all the listeners, all the mutants out there, you know what I mean? I would just say, it's like that classic phrase, man. Stay low, keep firing. Just, continue to work as long as it's comfortable and as long as you have the headspace to do it. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing that not a lot of people will say. A lot of people will just tell you to grind, but give yourself some grace too. You know what I mean? Like, work as much as you can, give yourself, a little break here and there, and keep going. Because again, you never know who's tapping in. You never know who's willing to buy your music or your merch or whatever you're bringing to the masses. Just grind it out, man, but safely,
man. Yo, amazing stuff coming from Wrex Mason, music producer, audio engineer, sometimey DJ from Hartford County, Connecticut, man, based out of Brooklyn, NY. Yo, thank you for your time. Thank you for dropping so many jewels and gems. And from me to you and from the Wrex Show, the beat community, yo, I'm giving you your flowers right now, man. Thank you for creating what you create and putting it out there. And yo, I'm excited for what you got coming out in this year into the future, man. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Oh, a couple more things.
Yeah.
So I'm currently working on a couple of projects with some homies that are across the water right now. So shout out to Black Josh. Shout out to Jaden Castro, who the homie from Connecticut, who's currently living in Amsterdam. I got a couple of pending projects with those guys, so I wanted to plug those real quick. But again, thank you to the Wrex Show for having me. It's much love, and the flowers you're giving me, I'm giving right back because y'all deserve them too.
Yeah, man. Listen, that is the show, everybody. I hope everybody got something from listening to it, and can, implement it into your own, practices and, things that you do, man. And once again, man, I want to thank Wrex Mason, rexmason.com for tapping in with me and being the first guest in 2023. Yo, we got some amazing people coming up, man. I already got January, February, March. April was getting, tuned up right now, man. I'm telling y'all, stay tapped in. We got some amazing, talented mutants coming to the show. And I want to say thank y'all. Make sure y'all taking care of yourselves. Make sure y'all take care of your chickens. And I had to include this last track from Wrex Mason, man, just because, it's a heartfelt one to me, man. Like, I got goosebumpy and emotional after listening to it. It's so good, man. So I'm going to let y'all listen to it, man. Y'all take care of yourselves, man. I'm going to see y'all next week on another episode of the Wrex Show podcast with your boy, David Gldnmnd Hicks. Peace and love, yo.
You are loved by your grandfather and myself. We see something very special in each of our grandchildren, and we thank God for you. Always strive to be the very best that you can. I know without a doubt that there is unlimited ability and potential living on the inside of you. So strive to be the very best that you can become. Love you, your grandmother,